Hello, and welcome to Real Talk Realtor Mama Edition. My name is Samantha. I'm a top real estate agent, entrepreneur, and proud mama of two, here to keep it real about life, business, and everything in between. This is the podcast where we explore challenges and blessings of balancing a thriving career, motherhood, and mental health, all while sharing tips, lessons, and stories to inspire and empower you. Some episodes, I'm joined by incredible guests, experts in finance, motivation, small business owners, and more to bring you insights that'll spark growth and ignite your potential. Sometimes it'll just be me and my strong opinions rambling away. But most importantly, I'm doing this for my own healing and learning and as my way of giving back. If my words or the stories shared here help even one person, then it's worth it to me. So grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and let's dive into today's Real Talk. Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of Real Talk Realtor Mama Edition. I'm here today with one of my most favoriteest clients, Evan Zaremba. We have been working together for about 5 years now. I sell a lot of the houses that he flips. He is an investor that wears many hats. So I wanted to kind of just share a little bit of his journey into getting started into the real estate investing industry, some of the things he's overcome, and kind of where he's at and where he's going from here. So, Evan, welcome. Thank you so
Hi,
much for joining me today. Do you want to introduce yourself?
my name's Evan, and I have been doing real estate since 2007 on and off. I originally started doing um, rental refis, the BRRRR strategy back in 2007. Didn't really know what I was doing back then. I bought all the wrong houses I bought the worst houses in the worst areas, as I like to say. And after about 3 years of doing that, it collapsed, and I kind of got knocked out of real estate. I was almost $1 million in debt back then,
Mm.
and it wasn't the good debt. And then for about 6 years after that, I did not do any real estate. I just learned how to do sales. So I was working for companies in sales. And then about 2016, I rediscovered, that I had to get back into real estate, and I found some people who were doing wholesaling. And so I got back into wholesaling, and from about 2016 till 2021 or 22, I did well over 100 wholesale deals, probably 200. I don't know the exact amount. But then in around 2020, I thought, hey, maybe I could start flipping a house, start flipping houses and buying rentals. Because if you just keep doing standard, wholesale it's just a transaction again and again and again, and it doesn't really build long-term wealth. So I knew that I needed to buy rental properties, and I needed to make more income. And so I think, so flipping was kind of like the next step for that. So I started doing that, and that's when we met in about 2020.
Yeah. So I love that you've done a little bit of all kinds of investing, and it's very diverse. So I want to backtrack a little bit because for somebody who might be listening that doesn't know all of these different strategies. And for even someone like myself, because you mentioned you started with the BRRRR method. So one thing do you want to explain maybe what the BRRRR method is? And
Mhm.
I mean and why do you think that that wasn't a good way for you to start? Is it just because is that do you think that's generally speaking for most people trying to get into the real estate investing world? Um, I know it's a
Yeah,
lot of
I would say the BRRRR method sucks really for most people, myself included. Um, the thing is, so BRRRR stands for buy, rent, rehab, refinance, and repeat. Throwing in as many R's as you can in there. So you buy a house, you renovate the house, you rent it out, you find a renter in there, and then you refinance the hard money loan or private loan or whatever loan you had on it, if there was one, and hopefully are able to pay back that entire amount. And then ideally you pull money out of that if you can, and whatever money that you can make would be considered tax free because it's debt. And then ideally your rent will cover the mortgage payment, taxes, and insurance, and ideally you're supposed to cash flow positive on top of that. So in other words, let's say you buy a house for $100,000, and let's say you buy a house for $70,000, and you put in 100, you put in $30,000 worth of work, and then you can refinance it. You want to recoup that $100,000 investment. And if, let's say, you're able to refinance it for $120,000, you can put that, pocket the difference, the 120 minus 100, so you can pocket $20,000 into your, as whatever,
Right.
capital income or something like that. And then now you have a loan though for a new loan for $120,000, and whatever that payment is, based on the interest rate, taxes, and insurance. If your rent is, let's say, $1,500 a month, and your payment on a $120,000 loan is maybe, I don't know, $1,200 a month. So if your rent is $1,500 a month, now you positive cash flow $300.
And that's an ideal like situation right there.
That's like your prototypical like bird deal, right? And the
So
reason
what do you
why
think what do you think are the common mistakes there?
the common mistakes is not buying the property at a low enough price,
Mhm.
and the interest rates are higher now. They're 7 or 8%, for a lot of these. During this time period, a couple of years ago when they were like 4%, that was a pretty good time to get in on something like that. Um, but it's just, if you do one of those deals, like let's say you do that deal, right, and you make 20 grand, okay, so you've made 20 grand on the property, and now you supposedly make $300 every single month, which is really nothing, right? It's not like gonna be life changing money.
Right.
So if you just do one of those deals, it's okay. The problem arises is when your heater breaks and you have to spend $6,000 on a new heater,
Mhm.
or you have to get a new roof on the property, or you have to, evict the tenant, and now you have 6 months of non-payment, or you have to, file for eviction or something like that, or some type of repair or long term of non-payment from that wipes out most or all of what you made on the property. So if you did that the first year, and let's say something happened within the first 2 years, 2 or 3 years, you kind of kills that, offsets that $20,000 that you initially made, right?
Okay.
So I don't really think it's like a great. It's an okay strategy. It's a beginner strategy. It's just kind of like mediocre at best.
Mhm.
People have gotten rich off of this stuff, but you have to do it. You have to get a lot of them, right? You
Yeah.
you you have
Because
to do a lot of them.
the idea is you need to get a good deal every time and keep basically and be able to keep cash flowing and
Yeah,
get more and accumulate more and more properties this way.
yeah, right,
Um,
right. Like right now, I have 20 doors, right, and
Meaning for those who may not know, you have 20 properties that you own and rent out, right?
I don't know if it's 20 properties, but it's like one of them is a 5 unit, one of them is a 4 unit, and then all of the other ones are singles. So
Okay.
whatever that comes out to be. So it's probably like 11 or 12 properties. So, but the doors doors meaning 20 separate renters, right?
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
20 units. So, um, they, you know, I don't rely on that money as income. It's just money that really is, uh,
It's more long-term investing, right?
yeah, it's long. I mean, I pretty much, I don't, I have to look at my accounting and stuff like that. But most of the time, it's like I kind of break even, or even if I make money one month or don't make money for a couple months in a row, something is going to happen where I have to have a repair or a vacancy or something where I have to weather the storm, and it's going to kind of like deplete whatever money that I made. So I don't rely on that rental income
Right.
as as like something that I'm going to live off of. I just look at it as like this. These are these are long-term plays, and I look at it as kind of like a 401k, like a retirement program,
Exactly.
or a self-directed IRA, whatever you want to look at it. You have to, if you have a self-directed IRA, you have to self-manage what you do with that IRA, or even a 401k, right? So if you're going to put your money in the stock market in the S&P 500 and you're going to do dollar cost averaging long term, that means you're going to invest $1,000 or $500 every single month and put it in the S&P 500. That's actively managing that account to do what it does long term, and that is your strategy for that. So if that's your what you do. So you don't meaning like if the stock market crashes, which it does every couple of years, it has a really big dip like it's going through now or went through like last week or something like that. You're not going to just panic and sell off because you don't need that money right away, right? So you just in fact, if anything, you buy more when the stock market goes down, right? So I look at these rentals as the same thing. What I want to do is I want to minimize the amount of headache and maintenance and management that I have to deal with the rentals. So if I can do that, if I can put a tenant in there who who takes good care of the property, pays on time every month, calls me when something goes wrong, doesn't call me when over little tiny things, right? Handles them themselves, and I never hear from them, and maybe like once a year or once every couple of years, that is ideal for me.
Yeah, but how
'Cause
easy is that to do?
how easy is that to do? Well, you have to
Yeah.
get good.
You have to
You have to
get good
practice
at it.
that, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So you have to train your tenants, and if you have a tenant that's a problem tenant, then you have to remove them. So I have a lot of not everyone, but probably half of my properties are Section 8, and the government pays a big portion of their rent, and then they pay the balance. If they don't pay that, and I file for eviction and I tell the housing authority, they lose their meal ticket, not their housing ticket, really.
Right,
So they
right.
lose their free housing or whatever the housing,
Okay. Yeah.
and people don't want to do that. For my non-Section 8 tenants, I'm very clear with them. I say rent is due on the first. If it's not here by the second, it's late. You have a 5-day grace period. If it's after the 5 days, there's a $50 late charge. If it's after 15 days, the 15th of the month, if if I don't have rent by then, and with including the late charge, I'm filing for eviction. Now, if something happens, like you get into a car accident and you're in the hospital, please give me a call and let me know. Either way, I'm still filing for eviction. Are we clear? I tell them that, and they do exactly what you do. They laugh.
No, I
They
know.
laugh and they say, "I like the way this guy does business because he doesn't mess
But you
around."
set the expectation,
Yeah. So
and
I
that's
set the
important.
expectation, and I learned that from a mentor who taught me how to say it just like that.
Yeah.
So your tonality matters when you're dealing with these things, and like your position and your authority in all of these situations, and all of that will have an influence on how the transaction is going to go. The not the transaction, how the relationship is going to be.
Yeah, the lease and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
I mean, I have so many questions, I feel like that could be a whole 'nother episode, like,
We'll make it
dealing
now. Go
with
ahead. Let's get
yeah,
into it.
but I don't wanna lose my train of thought because
Yeah,
I had another question. Okay, so basically, this form of long-term buy and hold investing, I guess, is what you can call it, right?
yeah,
Is for you, like you said, more of a, retirement plan type thing. And basically, even if you're not making money cash flowing every month, as long as it's not a huge thorn in your side or you're not losing money, you're building your equity regardless. So, and you have
yeah.
somebody else paying to do that. So it makes sense if you can make it make sense.
Yeah, exactly. So if I have a property that I buy and the tenant covers everything, and let's just say I break even for 20 years, I never make cash flow, like whatever positive cash flow I make on that property, I have to reinvest it into repairs, evictions, things like that.
Hmm.
Or just if the tenant leaves, then I got to find another tenant. Any tenant turnover, all of that stuff adds up. Let's say I do that for 20 years with that same property. Well, if I bought the property and I owe 150 grand on the property if I have a 30-year loan on the property, after 20 years, that loan is going to be paid down significantly to probably less than half.
Right.
Um, and then ideally, the the property value is going to be way more. So if I have a $150 loan, let's say I got 75% loan to value, the property when I bought it and refied it is worth $200,000. So now 20 years from now, that property might be worth $300,000 and I only owe 75 on the
Right.
property. So,
Mhm.
and of course that doesn't include for, whatever, I might have to like do some renovations if I went to sell it or something like
Of
that.
course.
But I buy these properties for leverage, right? Because even if I break even if I just get by, if I can just minimize my maintenance and my headaches on these properties and I hold them long term, I know that they're going to be worth more
Mhm.
long term. I know that they're going to be worth more. I'm going to pay them down. I get tax write offs on them. I get tax write offs, tax benefits. My CPA deals with all that stuff. I was able to forego a lot of money, in taxes by having these properties.
Right.
So,
And that's what, I wish they taught that stuff in school. Um, but
and you
hopefully
wouldn't have any teachers though.
you could be one. Help them out.
School system can't afford me.
All right, so before I move forward, I wanna real quick go back 1 second to, I guess, maybe your first deal, because a lot of people don't know about the financing part of it and how there's different options for financing. And so where did you get the funds for your first property that you bought?
My first flip.
Did you see
Well, the first property that I bought back in 2007, I had a partner, and you shouldn't partner with people. It's just not a good. It's not a good deal. If you wanna try it out and prove me wrong, you're not going to prove me wrong. But go ahead. If you need to, sometimes you gotta, you can lead the horse to water.
Yeah.
But I had a partner back in the day, and when I say don't partner with people, there has to be a certain structure for a partnership. Don't put yourself on an LLC with somebody else,
Yeah, don't yeah.
especially if you don't know anything and they don't know anything. And you're just gonna have the blind leading the blind, and it's gonna become an accounting mess for you at
Right.
one point. But back then in 2007, he had a he had a W-2 job. I did not. I was 1099, so I could not get like traditional loans from a bank. You had to be a 1099 employee for 2 years or longer. And I had just moved back from China. I was living in China for a few years. And so I didn't have 2 years of tax returns at a 1099. But he did. He was a
Mhm.
cop, and he was able to get, he had an uncle who was into real estate, and his uncle introduced us to a lender, a bank, and the guy was basically he had a lot of confidence in us. He saw that we were young, ambitious guys, and this is back in 2007, right before the crash. And you,
Yeah.
you really didn't need much to in order
Yeah.
to get a loan. Like you needed like a note from your mom that said that you could pay it back, right? And so we were able to get this guy to give us lines of credit on these shitty properties, and it was like we were massively over leveraged, but we tried to do the right thing. We tried to like buy the properties, rent them out, and then we refied some of them, and then we bought more properties, refied them out. The problem is we didn't know anything about property management or like repairs or how to deal with these things. And then eventually there that the crash happened, and my buddy couldn't get loans anymore, and because he couldn't get loans, that's what he did. I said we got to part ways, so we parted ways business wise, and then it just didn't, everything went to shit back then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the second go around, how did I get money to buy my first property? I used a private lender. So a private lender is just somebody who is a private individual. They don't typically have a company or anything like that. He was I don't want to call it wasn't his money. He used money from somebody else. He kind of brokered the deal. He actually is a professional business, a professional real estate person. So he borrowed money from somebody else and then lent it to me, and I paid back the interest, and I paid him points and on the deal. But it was like a slam dunk. No, I don't want to say a slam dunk, but it was like a really good, pretty good deal because I bought the property for like 70. I put in like, I don't know, like 30 grand into the house, and then we sold it for like 135 or 145. And pretty good deal for
Yeah.
my first flip.
Um where do you meet like, I know now you do a lot of, like, networking and things, and you're very well connected in the community, so, I'm guessing that's where you get how you get a lot of your deals and private money lender options and things like that. Is that how you met your first private money lender? Like, the first guy that,
Yeah, I mean, so, like, if you go to, like, local RIA groups, real estate investing meetups and things like that, you'll find people who are private money lenders there. They have money, they've been in the real estate game for like 20 years. They have a boatload of rentals and they have a lot of equity and they don't really want to do the game anymore that like I'm
Right,
doing. They don't want to keep flipping houses and buying rentals and deal with it. They kind of like are in maintenance mode. So they want to lend their money out and get 10 or 12% on it and they want to have it secured on something and know and deal with people who know what they're doing. So you can find people at these groups. They're not like necessarily going to um, advertise that
yeah,
they're
you're not
lending
wearing a
money.
sticker like
But once you find out who they are, then you can do that. Now you can also get money from a hard money lender. I've used hard money lenders before. I don't really like using hard money lenders because I think their terms suck, but their terms are meant for them, right? Their terms are meant to benefit them. But with a private money lender, you can usually negotiate far better terms. And once you
So
do a deal with them and you pay them back, they want to do it again. They're
yeah.
like, "Hey, how do I deploy this money? I need to, get it out. I need to get my monthly check."
So, all right. So, I guess one of your lessons from your first go around, what do you think is like, did you go to those networking events? Did you go to those like educational events the first time around, or did you
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of just jump into it? Or
No, I went to a lot of them.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah, I went to every week, sometimes multiple times a week. I was going to networking events, meetup groups, and just trying to soak it all in and figure out what to do.
so then you went on to wholesaling for a while. You said right?
Yes.
Okay, so real brief, like what? How would you explain wholesaling? And I guess what did you like and not like about it? Like, why'd you move on from it? 'Cause I hear I know that there's a lot of wholesalers and they make great money and they're just like they love it because they're removed from the deal. What was your take on it?
Well, I don't think they're removed from the deal. They're in the
Well
deal. They're
well,
they
yeah,
they
I
don't they
don't
don't
mean
end
that,
up.
like, they don't have to do the work of the renovation and
Yeah,
stuff, I
right.
guess.
Right, they don't have to do the work of the renovations. So, uh, wholesaling, what it is assigning the rights of a contract to an end buyer. So let's say I find a property for $80,000 that I deal with a seller. The seller wants to sell their house for $80,000. And I find a buyer for $100,000. Then I can assign in my contract with the seller. It says and or assigns that just those little words. You can put it in any contract and you can assign your rights of that contract to another entity or person or whatever, and then you can sign that for whatever price that you agree with them to. And then if it's, let's say it's 20 grand, it's 20 grand. And I've done assignments for as little as a couple $100, and then I've done assignments as big as $80,000.
Right.
And there's people that have done over six-figure assignments. So there's a guy, he's done like he's in the space of like commercial space and um, uh, like storage units and things like that. He's had like a $300,000 assignment.
Oh my
So
gosh.
there's a ton of money. What you're doing as the wholesalers, you are sifting through and finding the deals. You're the deal finder, right? So whether you're sending out lots of mail or cold calling or cold texting or whatever. These some bigger companies, they do like radio ads, they do pay per click. You're just doing a lot of marketing, and you got to spend a lot of money on marketing in order to generate a bunch of leads of prospective distressed sellers, not a motivated seller, a distressed seller. So you want
Yeah, there's
somebody who
definitely a
who
difference.
wants to sell their house yesterday, right? they're done with the property. The property is typically not in very good shape, and they want to get rid of it. And so that is a and it's causing them distress, literally, to continue to have the property. And sometimes those properties are um, inherited, like they could be through a probate situation. Your parents passed away, and now you have this property that you don't want to deal with, and it's causing bad memories, and you don't have the money to renovate it. It could be you're behind on taxes on the property. It could be you're have a medical situation and you can't afford to live there anymore. You need to go to like some kind of like a nursing facility.
Mhm.
It could be the property is just in disrepair and like the roof is leaking and you don't have the money to fix it. These are just like lots of like distressed situations where people want to get rid of these houses. And so what I did and the guys that I worked with, we would find these deals and then we would um and typically they're not properties that realtors want to work with because they're disgusting. They're like they're like they're really, they're smelly, they're not safe. Uh,
Trash.
you know, there's trash
Wasted
everywhere.
waste.
Right, and they've called realtors before, and the realtor says, "I don't even wanna deal with that." Or if it's under a certain dollar amount and the realtor
Mhm.
doesn't, they're not gonna get a commission, they don't even wanna deal with it. So we've dealt with all these types of situations, and we can make a lot of money doing this because other people don't wanna deal with it, I'll deal with it, I don't care. I'll go into a nasty property and look it over and take a bunch of pictures and find a buyer for it. And now I'm the buyer, right? So the reason why I so I did that for about 5 years, right? And I did a bunch of transactions with that, and you
Wait,
can
so
make
one
money.
second, because
Yeah,
um you said a few things that me as somebody who, so I know a lot of people that are like, "Oh, I want to get into investing. I want to be an investor. I want to flip
yeah,
houses." Like nobody really actually, most people won't put the work in. Um and you said a few things during what you were just saying, to like, if I were listening to this and if I were wanting to get into investing, like some of the notes I'm taking right now are: show up to, like, network, go around people who are doing what you want to do and learn from them and connect with people. I'm hearing like probate. Okay, maybe I should learn about probate. Maybe I should figure out what the probate process looks like, or where to find people who are filing for probate, which is super easy, mind the way, by the
mhm,
way. Like, um so, I mean, I hope that I'm just wanting to point those things out because not everybody's brain works the same. And like, if you're listening to this and because you want to get into investing, like, don't just listen to it. Like, write notes and like take things from what's being said that you can actually apply and go and do what you want to do. So okay, so you
yeah.
did wholesaling for about 5 years, and then what? We switched it up. Why?
Well, I really didn't like doing wholesaling that much because I have to keep chasing deals, and the assignment fees were not typically that big. Um, they're $10,000 or something like that, or 20,000. Which don't get me wrong, it's a good amount of money, but like I wasn't doing them enough to make it like to be like life changing.
Right.
And the other thing is the when you're dealing with people in distressed situations, that energy has a an impact on you. And
Mm.
I didn't want to
This
continue being around it because you're
Yeah.
dealing with a lot of like sad situations and you know, like it's not, it just has an
It's
effect.
tough. It's
Um,
tough, yeah.
yeah, it's tough, right?
It's,
Oh,
like, emotionally draining.
yeah, it's
I
like
used
being
to
a
work
vet
for
and like
a,
your job, like if you're like the vet, like you have to put puppies down every day.
yeah.
You don't want to.
No, yeah.
I don't want to be a vet to do this.
Uh,
you
I
know?
think I mentioned this on another episode too. I worked for, ASD. It was like an answering service. I think it's still over in media, and it was like a funeral home answering service. And this was awful. It was like the worst job I've ever had because you're just everybody who you talk to is sad, and it's like
Right.
you start to like feel it in your soul, and it's like
Yeah,
you
and
can't
it's not.
shake it. And if you have any type of empathy,
Mhm.
like, it's awful. So yeah, I just quit that one time. So I totally get what you mean. So it was just kind of like draining after a while. And then when was Evie born?
2019.
2019. Okay, so you kind of ended the wholesale thing around that time, right? And
Yeah, I
switched
didn't
over.
necessarily like end it like with the intention to end it. It's just kind of like I'm getting this property for X amount, and I'm like, maybe I can flip this thing. You know,
Yeah.
why not try and flip it instead of making 10 grand? Maybe I can make 30 grand flipping the house.
Yeah.
And
So
and
in 2019 I got licensed.
mhm,
And also, I had Junior, and was my first kid, and I was getting into real estate. And 2020, I think we got connected in 2020 through my friend Whitley,
mhm,
and she was like learning about the wholesaling thing, and I think she maybe did like some of your classes or something because you were teaching other people at the time,
mhm,
and she got us connected. And I think that first year I sold I sold maybe 2 for you that first year, and then the
right.
second year, it was, like, a few more, then it was, like, 9 in 2023, then last year, you doubled that and flipped 18 houses,
Yeah.
and you're just, like, on a roll, like, you gotta it seems like you got your system, so backtrack then, we get connected, I start helping you sell the houses that you're flipping, in and around Delaware County. Um, what was your experience as your first few flips? Were you like, "Oh, yeah, this is it?" Were you like, "This is kind of a pain?" Like, where were you at with them?
I liked it because I like the process of flipping a house because I can see progress. Because if I walk into a house that I'm buying and it's a dump, which almost
Mhm,
all of them are, then like, you know, the day one, it's cleaned out, right? That's progress. Day
mhm,
2, the demo's done. Day 3, they're starting to prep and paint and drywall. Day 4, like not day, but like, over like a week, then all of a sudden the kitchen is done and the bathroom is done and all of these like things every time I go back to the house, I'm making progress. And it's like
yeah,
kind of like cool. Like and I have guys that are doing this. I have like crews that are doing the work, so I don't have to do the work because I can't. I don't know how to do any work. Um, but I don't need to know how to do the work,
No,
right? I just need
yeah,
to know how to hire somebody who knows how to do it. So I really like that. And then I'm not dealing like a lot of my deals I get from wholesalers. So the
mhm,
wholesaler is the one who's dealing with the sad situation or the drug, addiction or the whatever they got going on in their life. And I'm not doing that anymore. I'm dealing with the wholesaler or I'm dealing with the realtor who's
mhm,
dealing with the seller. So now and I'm paying them, right? Because they're taking their assignment fee or the realtor's taking their commission, all this kind of stuff. And I'm totally fine with that. And instead of having to do 4 deals a month, I only got to do 1 or 2.
mhm.
Right now, my goal this year is to do three deals a month. Well, I think I want to do.
I think just statistically,
Yeah,
because you have literally like almost doubled your business each year, that it only makes sense that I think you're going to do at least 30 this year.
that's crazy
Um,
to think that I could do 30
isn't
plus.
it?
The
But
thing is,
here's the thing. Like last year, and I was just talking about this the other day, so in 2024, I really didn't set goals for myself. Like if I kind of set like shy goals. Like I was like, maybe I'll hit this. And I like blew it out of the water last year, and I feel now I'm like, "Oh, I'm setting, like, big goals this next year." Like,
mhm,
maybe I'm, like, too, excited, but, like, once you see what you're capable of, like, dude, you've literally doubled your business in a
right.
year after year for the past at least 3 to 4 years. So, I'm just excited to see, what you do this year. I know you're trying to be modest with your goals, but I have faith in you. And I think that we make a great team. I think that we have definitely learned a ton from each other
Mhm.
throughout the whole journey and process of working together for the past 5 years. I'm continuously learning. So let me think. Is there a deal? that you can is there a deal, like, that sticks out in your mind from the, I guess, the beginning of 2020, 2021 that was kind of pivotal for you that maybe you learned something major through? Or, like, an experience as far as flipping or selling? I know we've had, like, a lot. Um,
A pivotal deal, I think. I don't know if it was one particular deal, but I think it was you kind of getting on me about, um, hey, some of this stuff needs to be a little bit better quality, and because the inspection reports are coming back, and certain things need to be addressed, and they could be addressed up front, and it doesn't have to be that difficult to deal with the because then sometimes the buyer gets a little leery, and I mean, I'm buying old houses, and it's not like new construction or anything like that, but I'm trying to make it as nice as I can and as livable. Um, and if the thing functions, or if I think it functions, I'm going to like sometimes leave it there. But but then what I'm finding is that if it's not functioning, or if there's a problem with it, then it needs to be addressed. So I think that's one of the things that I'm coming across is it's just better to spend a little bit more money up front and get all the mechanicals
like,
taken
it's
care of.
like growing pains in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
It's all good stuff. Um, so what was I gonna ask you now? So I have a kind of idea. So you have some buy and holds now. You have
Mhm.
about 20 doors, you said.
Yep.
You're focusing mostly on flipping houses. You got a certain goal this year of a number you want to flip. Do you is there anything next as far as like investment strategies that you're interested in exploring? Or are you kind of at this point, do you have like what you want to do down, and this is how you're going to build your wealth and continue to, rinse and repeat, or continue this process? Where are you at with it? Because
So, yeah, there are some.
I started with my, I guess, investing journey with a short-term rental.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know if I'm still a few years into this. So, I don't know if I'm gonna
Is
look
that the
back
beach
10
house you
years from
have?
now and be like, "Yeah, the beach house."
Yeah.
But it's more so for me, um, it's paying for itself, and we get to use it, and each year we're making more. So we're not necessarily profiting right now, um, but in the other sense, we're also saving money booking shore trips for a week each year that would be, a couple $1,000 every time we go down the shore or more. And so long term, obviously, we're building the equity. I want to buy some more in that little community, but that's kind of like my what I'm going to try as far as my strategy.
Mhm.
I'll report back if this is going to work
Okay.
for me or not.
Okay.
But is there anything you think that you're going to be adding to the mix, or like I said, are you set where you're at when you got your strategy down? And
So, I feel like now I'm really hitting my stride. I'm getting a lot better at these deals, finding them, sourcing them, doing the construction to them, getting them on the market, getting the buyer, within a short period of time. And of course, like, that's also like, um I'm in a good part of the country, and the economy is good. Like, hopefully those things stay that way.
you've
And
you've built a lot of connections and relationships over this past several years. So I feel like keeping that momentum is
right, right,
crucial.
yeah, that's what I have right now. I have momentum. So are there other things that I want to do? Yes. So there's something called like seller financing rentals, where I can seller finance some of these properties instead of selling them
Mm.
to a retail buyer. I can seller finance it to like a another investor, and I can collect the down payment. There's different strategies for um, for doing something like that. So instead of making, let's say you make 30,000 or $40,000 on a flip, foregoing that $40,000 and just collecting $600 or $700 a month for however long that person owns the property, right?
Mhm.
So that would be more of like a long-term cash flow investment strategy, because if you do that, then that $700, 800, whatever, $600 adds up to, if you do 10 of those deals, it's another 6 grand a month. If you do one of those
Yeah.
deals a month, then over 5 years, I mean, you got 60 properties that are making $600 a month. You can be pretty like wealthy doing
That's
something like
awesome.
that. So
Now,
there's
would
that's
you start with the properties you already own with that, or
so no, probably not, because you have to structure the entity portion of it, and you can't have certain loans on the property. Like you can't have like a commercial loan. You have to do
okay,
this with private money. There's like a
gotcha.
private money strategy to it. So let's say you
Okay.
borrow money at 12% to buy a house, right? I'm paying a private money lender 12%. Well, when somebody comes along and let's say not 12%, let's say like 8%, right? Something like
Mhm.
that. Like eight. If I'm paying 8% to somebody, if someone comes along and they want a rental property, but they don't know how to do construction, they don't know how to find tenants, they don't know how to do anything. They just want to have something that's kind of like maintenance mode, and they have money already. They can give me a sizable down payment on that property, and I can charge them maybe like 8.99%, or like maybe a little bit above 8%, 10, 9%, 10%, something like that. And then now I'm making a 1 to 2% spread on that money, plus whatever the difference would be between the down payment and the private loan that I already had. So
Okay.
it's kind of complicated the way that I'm saying, and I would have to kind of do it on like a board, like a chalkboard or like a
Yeah,
wet board to show
definitely
you.
a more, like, intricate form of investing, like, a
Yeah,
more, like,
it's not really
um
that. Yeah, it's not really that any different. That it's just I would be the bank instead of them going to a traditional lender to be a bank.
yeah.
So I wouldn't require any credit check or appraisal or anything like that that a normal bank would do. We could bypass that whole thing. It's just somebody who's got a small business. Most likely, they make a good amount of money, and they
Mhm,
want to park that money somewhere long term into a property that will ideally appreciate over time, and they'll collect a little bit of cash flow and have it be as maintenance free as possible. And then now they can, they can make money doing that.
mhm.
Yeah,
Cool. See, that's something I've never even heard of, so, that's something I'm hoping that listeners are
yeah.
taking from this as well, that there's so many options, in the investing/real slash real estate world for everything and so much to learn. So all right, this was great. And I want to, I guess, end the episode with maybe one piece of advice you would give to listeners who are interested in getting involved in real estate or investing, or something maybe you wish you knew starting out.
So a couple things. If you're interested in getting involved in real estate, then I think you need to know how to do sales and marketing before you do that. So go get a job in sales and learn sales and learn marketing. Because if you just like, okay, I'm just going to get into real estate and I don't have any, other skills, you're probably going to fail. You're probably not going to do anything. So I would go work for like a company that does like sells like roofing, or they sell windows, or they sell security systems,
What
or
was your sales job that you had in between? You
I,
said you
I
were
sold
working.
security systems, and I sold exterior remodeling, so like windows, roofing, and siding. And I was what's
Gotcha.
called a one call closer. Are you familiar with one call closer?
Um, no, but it sounds like a good thing.
Well,
Like,
so one call closer. So this model is very common for a lot of companies that do like home improvement sales, like home improvement construction, things like that. So I didn't do the marketing, meaning I didn't generate the lead myself. They would the company that I worked for generated their lead, whether it's through cold calling, door knocking. They had people go around, knock on people's doors, and they say, "Hey, are you we were in the neighborhood today, and we were looking. We noticed that your windows might be a little bit older, and we were wondering if you like a free estimate for somebody to come out here and give you an estimate for your windows. And
Mhm.
if you knock on enough doors, you're going to get a yes, right? Sometimes you got to knock on 100 doors before you get one yes, but that one yes gets my foot in the doorstep. So then I would go out. They would schedule. They'd say, "Yeah, well, we're going to be in this area tonight," and like then they send me the appointment. Like I wasn't, and sometimes I'd have to drive an hour. I didn't plan on being in the area that night, but magically that's how they proceed. That's how they projected it. So then I would go out, and they're expecting me, and that's my appointment for the day, right? So I go out to their house, and I go into their house, and I measure their windows, and I give them an estimate for the window. But while I'm there, I have to do this, what I call like an elaborate dog and pony show. So I show them our window and how great it is, and I build all this urgency as to why they need to get their windows done now, and how it's going to save them money on their energy bills, and how it's going to increase the value of their home long term. And all this stuff is true, right? But
Yeah.
we're really really embellishing it,
You
right?
have to be able to know how to sell it, like, and
You
talk
got
to
to be able to
people
know
and
how to sell it.
invoke that emotion.
Yeah. So you build all this emotion, and then what you do is you show them a bunch of estimates that are from legit estimates from other companies that are very expensive. So other
Okay.
companies go out there and they say, "Hey, this is from Anderson. These windows are going to be, $30,000 for all this stuff, and this is from another company, and this is going to be $40,000 for your windows. How much do you think ours are going to be?" You
Yeah.
know, and and then they give you a number, and then what you do is you you give them their estimate, and then when you give them their estimate, you say, "You know what? The way that we work as a company is we're here on an efficiency basis, basically. So, in other words, I go out and I give you guys an estimate, and then tomorrow I have another estimate to give, and the next day I have another estimate to give. Well, if I had to come back tomorrow to give you guys another estimate, or come back to, do whatever, then I'm going to lose that opportunity to go out and see somebody else tomorrow. We can do that, but the way that we work is we give you a price that's good for 1 year, or you can take our first visit discount, which is good for today and today only. So then I give them the estimate, and it's usually like, 10% less with the
Yeah.
first visit discount. And when you're talking about $10,000 or $20,000, that's a
Yeah.
one or 2,000. You're talking about thousands of dollars less. And a
Right.
lot of times they'll take that first visit discount, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. And then the whole thing after that is to, if they say no, which most of the time they say no right at first. Now that's when the sales game starts, right? That's
Yeah.
when the overcoming
Yeah.
objections and giving them further discounts, and coming up with other reasons why they need to buy today. That's what I was good at. So I did that for years. I did it for like 6 years straight, and I got really good at it. I did it, no, even longer than that. I did it for like almost 10
Did
years.
they I'm guessing they provide some kind of training and scripts and stuff
Oh,
at
yeah, yeah,
first?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
But
so
then a lot of it is you can't learn. It's like you also have it's like part of your personality whether or not you can like adapt and like talk to different people and persuade and different
well,
personalities and stuff.
no, you
Because
do, you can.
I have seen you I have seen you talk to some sellers, and it's just like it is funny because you can tell that you have definitely been in some type of sales position or something before.
Yeah,
Um, you are good at it.
yeah, I mean, but sales is just providing a solution. So you have to be
Exactly.
able to provide it. I was with a wholesaler the other day,
Mhm.
and he gets out we get out there, and this house is a dump, and he's got this number in mind, and I'm like, "Dude, this is way too high." He's like, "Yeah, you're right." He's like, "I didn't realize there's gonna be all this stuff." And I said, "What can we do?" And he said, you know, he gave me a number, and I said it was like 140, right? And I said, "If I could do 140, would we have a deal?" Now he was there with his partner on the deal, right? So they're, I
Mhm.
guess, like JVing the deal, or I don't know how, whatever they do, right, together.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah, I just got to talk it over with my partner." Now, what that means is he's going to go out and shop it around. You
Yeah.
have to know, if they're not ready to say yes right now, that means he's just going to go shop it around.
Right.
So I look at him right in the eye, and I knew that his partner was right there, and his partner was right there. And I look at him, I go, I'm gonna walk down the street to the end of the block and make a phone call. You guys talk about it right now. Call me whenever you're ready. Call me back when you're ready." And he looked at me and he like was like, and he just kind of like laughed. And I turned around and started walking. I walked to the end of the block. I called my wife. I was telling her, I told her what was going to happen. I said, "Hey, I might get a deal here. I might not." 10
You're
minutes,
like, I'm
five.
just using you as a pulley right now.
Yeah.
Have to act
Yes.
important business call.
Just, yeah, just calling in to check, just check, just check and say hi, let you know what's going on. And then
Yeah.
I'm on the phone with them, and then they wave me back. They wave me back. And they go, "Yeah, let's do it." I said, "Okay, great. I'm glad. Let's do it."
Love it.
Yeah.
Which
But
one was
what I
this?
did was I closed the deal. See, what a
Yeah.
lot of people don't do is they don't know how to close the deal. You have to know how to close a deal. If somebody says, like, if you're going to get into real estate, you got to know how to find a deal. You have to know how to analyze the deal and make sure it's actually a good deal. Okay, because you don't want to close a bad deal. So you need to
Yeah.
know how to analyze the deal. You need to know how to then close the deal with either the seller, the realtor, or the wholesaler, right? And I'm not talking about using sleazy sales tactics or anything like that. I'm just talking about finding a solution. These guys, look, they drove here from, they drove from like probably 45 minutes away because I know he lives in Philly. And,
Yeah.
it's like, what do you want to drive out here again with some other guy? Showings are difficult. It's like, come on, I'm the solution. I'm solving
Yeah.
your problem. Let's make a deal. Let's do it today. Let's get it done. Boom, done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. No, I'm just thinking because it's cool how, and I want people that are listening right now, maybe they're in a job that they freaking hate or they know that they don't want to be at forever, whatever. It's it's everything's always like a stepping stone. Like everything is always you have to be able to really take advantage of the moment that you're in and whatever you're having to do as far as work right now. What can you learn from it? Like and what can you use as a strategy and a skill moving forward to, whatever your next step's going to be. Working in Wawa for me, like I didn't think working in Wawa was ever going to be really beneficial for me, but it helped me learn how to build relationships with people because I would see the same people every day for 7 years, and I had to learn how to talk to different people, and,
Were you
working
the
for the
cashier?
call center. What's that?
Were you a cashier?
I was a cashier, I was manager at one point, I was in the deli,
Making
um
sandwiches?
yeah, make I was the hoagie master, that's what they called me. uh
Okay.
When I worked at the Wawa call center though, and I'm thinking about this as you're talking, like, the things that you learned in your sales position at the call center, we had to deal with calls from the employees, also calls from customers, and it was different departments. It was like tech, customer service. It was the like emergency line. There was like 7 or 8 different departments, all different programs and stuff that you had to learn, and you
Right.
never knew what call you were going to get. And like for an anxious person, like this job sucked because every time the phone rang, I was just like, oh my god, what's this going to be? How am I gonna like? And you don't know, and you have to pick it up, and you have to go with the flow, and you have to stay cool, calm, and collected, no
Mhm.
matter what the issue is, and you have to figure it out as you go. Like, you don't
You
have
gotta solve
time
the
to be like,
problem.
"Let me put you on hold really quick." You gotta do it all at once, and, like, you are handling a lot of emotions. I got cursed out for 45 minutes one time because the guy was going into the Wawa bathrooms every day to use the bathroom, and then the hand dryers, he was using the hand dryers, but they were too loud for him, for his preference. Like, they were making him lose his hearing, he told me. Hand dryers are too loud. I go and use the bathroom every day. Well, first of all, like,
You
what I
field
wanted to
calls like
say,
these? Wow.
it was wild. Like, I couldn't even the stuff that people would call about,
I didn't
what
even know you
things
could
were
call Wawa and complain.
yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, and guess what? Let me
But
tell you a secret. They'll give you a gift card, a Wawa gift card for just about anything, okay?
really?
The hand dryer guy who
Yeah.
45 minutes had me on the phone about the hand dryers, when all I wanted to tell him to do was, number 1, "You have a home, sir. Go on your own toilet." Like,
Right,
go on
right,
your own toilet.
right,
Number 2, like, "Why are you using the hand dryers? Bring some paper towels in." Bring some paper towels. But I had to give him a $10 gift card and apologize for 45 minutes and take the mental abuse and figure out all these different things that would take him off of my phone.
right, right, right.
Um, and then the next call was like somebody at the store having a complete emergency. And
You
there's no
so
downtime in between.
Right. So being on the phone and dealing with all that, you developed a lot of problem solving skills, and even
Mhm.
just being in the store, whether you're the manager or the cashier or the deli person, you're still doing a certain form of sales. Now it's not like retail sales is kind of like the easiest form of sales because people are going to into your organization,
They
your
know what they're
establishment,
going to get. Yeah.
and they're just like, Here, take my order." But it's still sales nonetheless. But I would recommend somebody get into sales. So I wouldn't recommend retail. I mean, unless you're going to do something like high end, like like certain cars or like high end
Yeah.
clothing or something like that. But I would recommend like anybody can go out and get a job probably at a gym, and get into sales there. You could sell like personal training. You could sell like sales jobs are typically commission only. Like I was commission only.
Exactly, which kind of it should make you work harder and wanna learn how to
Yeah,
get
I never
good.
needed the W-2. I don't know what it
Yeah, and
everyone's
if
like,
you
"Oh,
don't
is there."
working a sales
Yeah.
job or a commission-based job like that doesn't make you wanna learn and get better and work harder, then you're not probably gonna be good in this industry or in investing or real estate.
Yeah,
Um,
if you're looking to get into real estate, okay, these are certain skills that you have to be able to do. Like before you get into the NBA, you need to know how to dribble. You need
right.
to know how to shoot. You need to know how to pass. You need to know how to play on a team, and then you need to know how to play on a team that at a high level, at a high NBA level. And if you can't do that, you're going to be sitting on the bench, right? So that's what a lot of people do. They're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm just going to get into real estate. I'm going to wholesale deal," and sometimes they can, whatever, they get one deal and they get lucky. But you need to figure out a marketing strategy. You need to learn how to problem solve. You need to learn how to sell and solve problems, and you need to know how to analyze a deal. So if you're a wholesaler and you come to me with a deal, and this, like, people send me deals all the time, and like probably half of them are just trash, and the
Yeah.
other half are like pretty good deals. Um,
But
th- th-
somebody that is uneducated and doesn't know
yeah,
how to is gonna get those trash deals, though.
yeah,
Somebody's still gonna buy
yeah.
it.
Yeah. So and whether you're going to wholesale or flip or buy rental properties, do any of that, you need to know how to do all of that. Just those three, sales, marketing, deal analysis, and then also you need to learn how to build relationships with people, find private lenders, have a team. Who's going to be on your team? You need a realtor, a title company. You might need an administrator. You might need an acquisitions manager. But in the beginning, you should be your own acquisitions manager. If you're going to be flipping houses, you need contractors. You need, all of these things. If you're a wholesaler, you don't necessarily need contractors, but you're still going to need ac- um, title companies, and you need to learn how to figure out how to do payoffs and transaction coordination. So
And listen, if all this is making your head spin, it probably should, but where do you start? Somewhere.
yeah,
Mentor somebody, reach out to somebody. If they say no, screw off, then reach out to somebody else. Go to a
yeah,
class.
yeah.
Do something. Look at Google where you can go to an investor meet you know,
Just show up at
yeah.
meetings and just ask people questions,
Show up.
and take
Yeah.
action. I had a guy who was, um, I was part of this organization, and he was like a student there, and I said, you should be posting in Facebook groups that you were interested in buying houses. That's one good way you could find off market properties with potentially distressed sellers. And and then like I met with him 1 month, and then like 2 months later I met with him again, and I said, "How did it go?" And he goes, "Not that good." He's like, "I got, like maybe one or two comments on it." I said, "How many times did you post?" He goes, "Just one time." I said, "One time? You post every day, dude. What are you doing? What do you think the magic is just gonna fall in your lap after one post?"
Listen, that's a whole nother episode. Like you said,
Yeah,
you can lead them to the water, but you cannot make them drink. Some people just don't get it.
yeah, yeah.
um all right, no, this was great. I think we're going on an hour. We probably could go on another hour, but I got to get this kid off the bus soon.
Oh, okay.
um no, thank you so much. If anybody wants to follow along your investing flipping journey, where can they find you? I know you're on social media. Where can they
I'm
find you?
Zaremba on Facebook. Follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram, but I do most of my posting on Facebook. I do, and whatever it drops off to or carries over to Instagram stories, but that's where I'm more active on Facebook.
Or follow me because I tag him in a lot of my
Yeah,
stuff because
follow Sam, and Sam.
we do lots of business together.
Yeah,
So follow our journey. I'm gonna be selling at least 30 of Evan's flips this year.
right.
So it's gonna be fun. But all right, thank you so much,
Thanks
and
for
I
having me.
will talk to you later.
All right.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Real Talk Realtor Mama Edition. I hope you found a little inspiration, some fresh ideas, and maybe even had a few laughs along the way. If today's episode resonated with you at all, please subscribe, leave a review, and feel free to share it with someone who might need a little real talk in their life. Follow me on social media. My handle is the same everywhere at Realtor Mama. It's MAMA. Remember, we're all in this together, learning, growing, and finding our way one day at a time. Until next time, keep showing up, keep being real, and keep chasing your dreams. This is Samantha signing off with gratitude and love. See you next time on Real Talk Realtor Mama Edition.